Welcome to Monday Morning Quarterback, a weekly feature of Cannon Church. I'm Tim Ammett, the senior pastor at Cannon, and on Monday morning we connect the message from Sunday, the game of football, and the week ahead. In the first quarter of his first NFL game, Deion Sanders ignited his team, their fans, and the city of Atlanta. He dropped a punt, but then picked it up, broke several tackles, then eluded several more, and finally broke clear and sprinted to the end zone, touchdown. That one play was a preview of things to come, a glimpse of what was coming. You could see the outrageous athleticism, but also the showboating. He still had like 20 yards to go before he got into the end zone when Deion started high-stepping it in and lifting the ball up. In those early years with Atlanta, I gotta be honest, I could not stand Deion Sanders. He seemed like a shameless self-promoter, the high-stepping, lifting the ball up, shuffle steps, the dancing, the larger-than-life personality, the wardrobe. It was just too much for me. I couldn't stand any of it. But then two things happened. One, he kept playing, and I realized over the years, as everyone did, that he was the real deal. He could really play. He was clearly one of the best ever to play cornerback. The second thing was this. I started hearing stories that everyone who ever played with him loved him. They loved him. That made me wonder, like, what was he like in the locker room, on the practice field, in the meeting rooms? Well, then you find out that in the practice room, on the practice field, in the meeting rooms, in the locker room, he's a completely different guy. He was not loud. He was not a partier. He didn't cuss. He didn't drink. He is extremely intelligent and very hardworking. He worked at his craft. While others on their way to a game would be talking with each other, he'd have his laptop open, still working, still studying, still looking for an advantage. He was almost contemplative in his approach to the game, very quiet in the locker room on Sunday, getting ready for the game. Lay his uniform out and just kind of meditate and center himself before the game. He was not at all the big, brash public persona that everyone saw. He was kind of an intense, quiet, highly disciplined player. As Michael Irvin, who played against him and then played with him, once remarked, it's very rare to find somebody who is so extremely talented who is also so hardworking. You know, I'm thinking about Deion Sanders because on Sunday we continued our series, What If Love Ruled the World? And we heard Jesus tell us that the invitation to live in the kingdom of heaven is also an invitation to live without hypocrisy. When we hear the word hypocrite, we think of someone who says one thing and does another, but that's not what Jesus said. That's not what the word hypocrite means in the Bible. Instead, according to Jesus, a hypocrite, or at least this is what he meant by that word, the hypocrites do all the right things. Yes, they give alms, they give to the poor, but they're not really given to the poor. They make sure everyone knows the good they have done. They're given to themselves. And yes, they pray. In fact, they pray all the time, but they're not really talking to God. They're talking to the crowd. They are playing to the crowd. Yes, they fast. They're so serious and intense with their religious practices. They fast twice a week. But they're not really fasting to feast on God. They are fasting from food to feast on honor, to feast on praise. Don't be like the hypocrites, said Jesus. Deion Sanders is like the complete mirror image of that. The private guy is actually better than the public guy. Neon Deion Primetime, that's just a character he created. It's good TV. It's a great creation of a very smart player and now a very smart coach. He's now Coach Prime. He's kind of the mirror image of a biblical hypocrite. You know, a couple years before Deion was elected into the Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the NFL Network started publicizing or actually broadcasting the Hall of Fame announcement. They would be on TV live as players got the call, and then they'd have a press conference when they found out that they were going into the Hall. Since every year there are players who are sure bets, they would arrange for those players to be there on camera or just off camera. They'd actually be on camera when they got the call, and then they'd have a press conference immediately with them live. And so it was Deion's time. It was his year, first chance to be elected into the Hall of Fame. And everyone knew that he was going in. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer, no question. And so the NFL Network reached out to him and they asked him to come and be present for that announcement. And Deion said no. They sent a plane for him and he wouldn't get on it. He still would not come. Why? He had a youth football practice, and he didn't want to skip out on the kids to go to a press conference for himself. He told them that he couldn't ask the kids to give everything to him if he wasn't going to give all of himself to them. Don't be a hypocrite, said Jesus. Don't be somebody who looks good on the outside, but on the inside is something else. So what's the game plan for this week? Skip the press conference. Do something good this week. Could be for God, could be for others. Do something good this week for someone else, and don't tell anyone. Skip the press conference. That's it. That's the game plan for this week. I hope you have a great week.